Shalom Aleichem, Chag Sameach Sukkot, peace be unto you, and joyous feast of tabernacles, the building of the house, the sukkah that love built. This is the feast of the gathering, the ingathering, the return from all the nations into the house of the Lord, Israel uniting and becoming one. Ultimately, tabernacles is the goal of everything. Israel being gathered from the four corners of the globe, uniting, the tabernacle of David being restored, Israel becoming one house, echad, again, by the hand of Moshiach, the great carpenter, builder of the house. We see that tabernacles, the house, is the goal of the feasts. We see the beit, the house, in the very first word of the Bible, Bereshit, the enlarged house, the enlarged bet, which begins the word Bereshit, or Genesis, in the beginning. After all, God says, I tell the end tabernacles from the beginning, hidden in the enlarged bet that starts Bereshit. The bet is the house of the Reshit, of the firstborn. And as the bet symbolizes a house, you see the doors are open, showing that Israel would be freed from Egypt. Also, the doors open, meaning my firstborn will return to the beit, to my sukkah. So you can spin that with Bereshit, meaning in the beginning. Come on in, beginning. Come on into the house, into the beit, the firstborn of Abba, my firstborn, the firstborn of the Lord, the Reshit. Tabernacles, again, is the goal of our Exodus. Tabernacles is the goal of all the Moedim, of all the appointed times. It's the last of the feasts for a reason. It is the goal of the Exodus, where it is written, He has brought us out to bring us to Himself. It's the marriage of the hero, rescuing the beautiful princess, getting married and dwelling together, tabernacling forever in love. You know, just like how movies are structured, they have 3 acts. God is the great author and director of His story. We too have 3 acts. Act 1 is the introduction. There's Passover. The second act, the build-up, there's Pentecost. And that final act, that third act, the climax, there's Tabernacles. He freed us from Egypt, gave us the marriage contract, His Torah at Mount Sinai, that's Pentecost, and vows to return to bring us into His beit, which He goes to prepare. Tabernacles reminds us that one day we will be with the King of Kings. This is just temporary dwelling places. One day we will receive our glorified, incorruptible house. As the scriptures tell us, we must take off these tabernacles for the heavenly. Sukkot, or booths, is the brightest of all feasts because it's the goal of all feasts. It is the gathering together of the people of God scattered all abroad, returning, building one structure with one mind, not building a tower of confusion as in the Tower of Babel, which scattered the people into nations, but quite the opposite. By the hand of Moshiach, He is gathering the scattered into one fold, one nation, one people, under one sukkah, the house of Israel. No longer 2 nations, no longer divided, but made one. The sticks, the branches that builds the sukkah are made one in His hand. The house that love built. One of the themes of this joyous season is the Hebrew word ushpazin, which means guests, visitors. It is a time of opening your doors to fellowshipping in the sukkah and inviting strangers to join, which we kind of get our first idea of this special guest invitation during Passover, when we await Elijah preparing a place for him, which ushers in the Messiah. But tabernacles, which is the goal of Passover, we expect a multitude of guests, visitors, ushpazin. Not just one as in Elijah, but plural as in guests, visitors. So by Passover, the beginning or the work of one, many are made to come in and experience the joy, the lights, the feasts of tabernacles, the feasts of the nations, or the feast of the visitors. the ingathering of what the seed, the planting of Passover, our exodus, our freedom, has sown. The mixed multitude have been freed at Passover and brung in at Tabernacles. Blindness in part has happened to Israel until the nations come into the Sukkah, the household of faith. I brung you out to bring you to myself. He is gathering the 4 species of various fruits from the 4 corners of the earth, east, south, west, and north, unifying us, the coming together of the children of God from all over the world. Traditionally, we shake the lulav, which is the unity of the 4 species, the 4 cardinal directions, plus up into the heavens and down into the earth. Traditionally, it's about the 4 winds, north, south, east, and west, and the heaven representing the rains coming down, and the dew representing the earth. There's your 6 directions, the number of man, the number of preparation. It's a plea that God brings increase and prosperity, and how all nature should give praise and thanks to God. North, south, east, and west, up and down, the heavens and the earth. Everyone and everything should praise the Lord. Tabernacles has 2 key parts: the fruit of the earth, which represents the 4 species that are used to build the sukkah, and secondly, the sukkah itself, the tabernacle, the booth itself. Technically, it's all one, because you can't have the sukkah unless you have the ingathering of the fruit of the species to build it. You can't have an Israel without the people, the sticks coming together by the hand of God. Remember, it is God who chose. It is God who birthed. It is God who gathers. Aren't you glad he chose you to be a part of the building of his tabernacle? The Lord said, "Make me a sanctuary, a tabernacle, the temporary dwelling place of his glory, his spirit, the Shekinah, the manifested presence of God." And Yeshua was manifested for us, and his spirit tabernacles in us. We should not forget that we have been transformed on Yom Kippur, the day of mercy and cleansing, the day of forgiveness, when we were made new, cleansed by the hand of our high priest, that we can praise the Lord in celebration. For all the tabernacle was cleansed, and every piece of furniture was renewed and restored, representing various fruits, various people that form the tabernacle, that form the body of Messiah. Many members, one body. Many pieces of furniture, one tabernacle. Cleansed by the hand, exclusive hand, of our high priest, Yeshua HaMoshiach, Jesus the Christ. All the nations should celebrate the gathering of his people. Various fruits, various tongues, all used in service and in praise to God. Coming together in unity by his hand of mercy. He has brung us in, gathered us from the world to bring us into his fold. And no one can become a part of this house, a part of this sukkah, based on their own merit or their own right, but by the work and the will of the gatherer himself, Messiah Yeshua, the Lord who is building Jerusalem. When we build our sukkah, the pieces don't choose themselves. The decorations don't choose themselves. We select, we choose the items. We were all broken branches, scattered, that must be gathered by his hand, restored and born again by the builder, the carpenter of the house. So all nations are coming together in unity under his Kippur and cleansed, that we would become the tabernacle of the living God. And here's a mystery. Not only are we the items that he uses to build his sukkah, but we are also, at the same time, the purpose for building the tabernacle, the ushbazin, the guests that he has been waiting for. I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, there you will be also. During this season, we make choices. We want the best that we can buy when it comes to building and decorating our sukkah. We prepare special feasts, special meals, and drinks, and everyone gets involved to make this a joyous occasion. In fact, we are commanded to be joyous and celebrate the Feast of Ingathering, the return of the Israel of God. Yah himself chooses and picks as he gathers from among the nations. Other sheep I have, not of this fold, as it is written, he must bring them in too. The high priest prophesied of Yeshua that he would have to die to gather the children of God scattered throughout all the earth, north, south, east, and west. Each of these 7 days should remind us that the Lord is building his temple, his tabernacle, his Jerusalem, gathering together the outcasts of Israel, making us one fold. So as we tabernacle in our sukkahs, these next few days, remember, this is a temporary shadow of the day that we all are tabernacling with him. There'll be more to come. We haven't even gotten into his birth. So enjoy your feast and celebrate your return. Shalom Aleichem.